Nick, how are you?
Hello, good, Brian. How you doing?
Not too bad. I just finished watching Pam and Tommy actually last night, and weirdly, and this wasn't planned or anything, but myself and my wife were watching Devs as well, and it's I was when I was watching the two. I mean, it was very weird seeing two similar characters and two completely dissimilar characters, and I'll explain this. Um, it seemed to me that both characters were characters kind of ruled by extremes. As in, Milty was this guy who, was clearly, a drug addict and a sex addict. And your character in Devs was a person who was just completely ruled by grief to the point of was prepared to rip a hole in the time space continuum. My question to you is do you gravitate towards extreme characters? Do you think?
Oh gosh, what a great question. I don't. I mean, I think about that a lot. My wife is working on a movie right now, Megan Mullally from Will and Grace, and she played Tammy too, and she's an incredible Broadway singer, and she's doing this extreme movie musical right now, and something that we talk about, and it's interesting. I've never thought that. I've never thought that I gravitate towards extreme characters because I'm I'm usually pretty taciturn on the surface. Um,
Yeah.
I usually have a pretty stoic demeanor as my baseline, and then that can either go into cocaine and hookers, or many worlds theory and quantum computing, or whatever it is, or bacon and woodworking, and I don't think that simply. It's much more complicated. When I look at material to consider working on, first and foremost, I just need to be moved by the good writing, whether it's the stupidest comedy or the craziest tragedy. I read the script, and 99 out of 100 times I'm like, nah, there's something not right exactly. But then that one out of 100 times, I'll say, holy cow. And this is one of those cases, Pam and Tommy, where I read it and said, I have got to be part of this. I didn't know the true story of this. And I mean, so it's incredibly entertaining. It's a massively human story with like epic sort of Greek
Yeah.
level characters, but it also has an incredible sort of vindicating quality for Pam and Tommy, where the world is going to discover that we had it all wrong and that we've done them a powerful disservice.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because in watching it, I mean, I saw your live show when you played the Olympia here a couple of years ago, and I saw you and Megan were doing your live show at the Summer '69 thing, and it was really lovely. It was really really sweet, but you were completely open about the fact that you were fucking crazy about each other, which is really really heartening to see. And in watching Pam and Tommy, I was like, these two people were absolutely crazy about themselves as well. So I guess my question is like, did you relate to it in any kind of way, in the idea of that they were so kind of goofy, stupid, in love with each other, but then to have something so intimate revealed? Whereas I think you and Megan are quite open, not about your sexuality or anything like that. I mean, I'm not saying you're putting sex tapes out there, but you get what I mean, like.
Sure, yeah. Yes. I mean, that to me, that's one of the hearts of the story, is that what this was really about for them are two people that were just ape in love with each other, which is beautiful. I mean, it's what
Mm.
we all dream of and aspire to. Now, it just so happens that these two people are hold these life positions where it's like beautiful, buxom Playboy model, swimsuit TV star, and heavy metal, like notorious party guy. So they hold these positions where the world uh, is hungry for just a photograph of them, let alone filmed sex acts. And so I think the series and the story, the true story of what happened to them, is a massive referendum, not on on their characters, but on the rest of us.
Yeah.
Our inability to consider that these are just two kids in love, regardless of what they do for a living. This is their private, it's like getting their wedding album or something.
Yeah. Do you find, I mean, you mentioned something there about the fact that, Pamela was seen as, a sex symbol, and Tommy Lee was seen as, like, Motley Crue, drummer and what have you. That idea of pigeonholing, I mean, is that something you've had to deal with yourself? Because I know you were saying, like, you're kind of, seen as this very taciturn person, but obviously, you have a rich inner life. Is that something you've had to comprehend or kind of deal with in your own personal life, and then in your acting career, or how does it work?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, I guess it's different for every anybody in the public eye. I'm best known for Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec, and so that gives people a certain idea, a certain coloration. Like, for example, people have come up to me at public events and said, my wife really wanted to be here to meet you as well, but she was scared to come because she's a vegetarian. And I would say, that's so sad. Like that you couldn't make the leap.
Yeah.
That I couldn't care. Like, eat whatever you want. I'm just an actor. Like, Ron's deal with vegetarians is obviously a joke for a comedy show. And it's interesting. Like, I look at actors that are more like chameleons, the Daniel Day-Lewis trope, or the sort of Gary Oldman niche, where part of their power is that you don't know much about them, and that allows them to inhabit these roles. And that makes me feel really lucky that I've had a successful sitcom character, but the world still gives me permission to play roles like this, or devs, or what have you.
Yeah.
And so I think everybody probably has to deal with it differently. I feel very lucky because often, if you're on a successful sitcom like Parks and Rec, that disqualifies you then. People don't want to see Kramer show up in a lawyer movie because you're like, how am I going to take him? It's Kramer, right?
Yeah.
And so, on one hand, that's a dream come true to like get to manifest such an incredible character, but then on the other hand, it can affect your choices going forward.
But I mean, you haven't experienced that yourself. I mean, it's not been limiting for you at all, I don't think.
No, I mean, and that's why I feel lucky.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because I'm not a one trick pony. Like, I'm not a comedian, or Tommy Lee is a tattooed rock and roll drummer. That's his thing. And so part of why you get pigeonholed is like, that's what you do. But I'm a theater actor, and so hopefully I have more in my toolbox, so that people, they can see Parks and Rec, but then maybe I'll get cast as a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Definitely. I mean, final question, and this is a really stupid one. If you were to make a sex tape, what do you think your title of your sex tape would be?
Summer of '69, no apostrophe.
Nice. I mean, that was the show, so yeah, I get that, yeah.
It was.
It's a good title, though. It's a good title. And Bryan Adams, I mean, he was a good singer. Like, it's,
I'm extremely proud of that show, Summer of '69, no apostrophe. And I might as well... it's kind of obscure. There's a website, nickofferman.co, that's where the public can see Summer of '69, no apostrophe.
It was a lovely show. The song "Pop," I loved it at the end when Megan did the thing. Was it a uke she was playing? Was it a ukulele?
Ukulele, yeah. She's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm minding my manners.
All right. Okay, I'm getting the rap there, so I better leave it. Thanks so much for talking to me.
Cheers. Good to see you, Brian.
Cheers. You too. All the best.
Everyone is beautiful and perfect.
Is that how you feel? Like you have to please people?
It's all I do.